Surely I do have to spell them out. Cause you know as well as I do, the only way is put in more effort and less play. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us go hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique together. This is our home. This is our place, and we need to enhance it. We need to make it better, not just for us, not just for this generation, but for our children and children. Excuse me. Wow, that AC tend to give me a little problem here in the studio, when it's extremely cold. So making our home better will cause our children and children to appreciate our contribution. They will talk about us for plenty of years, that we made this place better for them. And that's our duty. That's our task. That's our responsibility, to make Grenada better for our children and children. I want to welcome you to the Dynamic Hour. Again, we have a unique moment in time to talk, using social media and the radio to connect. Those on Facebook and YouTube, you know the drill. Please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you share the live, you give your friends, your colleagues on Facebook, on YouTube, and so on, the opportunity to listen in, to follow the program. I want to start off by saying the union leaders seem to be disconnected from the membership, from the people who make up the union, the members of the union, the various unions. So while you are hearing aloud the union leaders making you believe that heaven is falling and that everything is about to erupt and that things are so bad when it comes to the unions and government, when it comes to the unions and statutory bodies, when it comes to the union and everything else. Folks, let me tell you, some of the union leaders are disconnected with the base, with their members. Because since NDC came into power, the unions should know that they have a friend, that they have a pro-worker government, a government who love workers. And the NDC demonstrated that in very concrete ways. They did not just talk. They came into power and they corrected, they fixed decades-old issues that the unions had with the previous administration and the previous and the previous and the previous and the... I am saying the union leaders need to take heed, because the turnout at Labor Day this year was the poorest turnout. It was terrible. People just didn't go. They were not interested in that, because you see, There is nothing to cuss or fight or quarrel about or protest about or demonstrate about in any serious way. So the days of militancy, that is not needed anymore. So when Daisy Hazard and Andre Lewis and all of them with the rhetoric, the militancy is not required anymore. You have a government who you can trust. You have a government that you can work with for mutual benefits on both ends. You can work, we can sit down with this government and you can work things out. You're not dealing with Keith Mitchell and the NNP. So it's a different climate, it's a different everything. And the union leaders seem not to grasp that or understand that. You have a government that you can trust, and the workers are confident that this government going to better their lives, improve their standard of living and their condition. They have hope in this government. You know, I was talking the day before Labor Day, outlining the many things that this government did for the workers. And you know, on Friday, about 5 or 6 workers, nurses, and orderlies and people who work in the hospital, about 5 or 6 of them came to me while I was in St. George's and said, Kem Jones, boy, you know they increase our allowance, our uniform allowance from, I think, let me see, because one actually sent me a message detailing it. I think the gentleman said to me it's now $1,000, something like that. And then another one said to me, let me see here. So you see, workers know, right? All right, so hey Kem, nurses feeling more valued. Government increased uniform allowance to $1,200. That's uniform allowance. All right. Last year it went up. Last year they brought it up to $950. That was last year. But right now they increase it to $1,200. The nurses, the folks who work in the health system, right? The nurses, the orderlies, the uniform allowance. And that's the fringe benefits that were agreed upon, right? And the nurse was saying to me here, promise made, promise kept. So workers know. So you see, the union leaders could be up there talking down, but they're disconnected because the workers know that this government cares about them in a very serious way. They're doing things to improve the lives of workers. Because I discussed this on the program, and then you had nurses coming up to me and say, hey, Kem, boy, we get our allowance, and it's way more. And remember, the NNP cut the allowance from the nurses. I remember there was a particular year, and I stand to be corrected, but there's a particular year or 2 or 3 when the nurses were getting less. They remove some allowance. If it was, I think it was either $250 or $400 and something, $50, something like that they removed from them. They cut it from the nurses. I remember that I had a program speaking about that. So here you have a government who is adding more to the nurses and the doctors. They're getting more. So look, Daisy Hazard could be up there talking and yapping, and there's no need for militancy. No, there's no need for that. You're wasting your arsenal, you're wasting your energy. You have a government that you can work with, a government who dealing with you in a genuine way and helping workers and bettering the lives of workers. So why be militant? Why try to be militant? And that is why people are not really participating in any real way come May Day. I mean, the showing was poor. Nearly all the unions, the numbers were terrible. Why? Because there's a disconnect between the membership and the leaders of those unions. Because the workers, they know that this government has done more for them than any government in the history of Grenada. In the history of Grenada, they don't have to go and demonstrate or protest for pension anymore, pension and gratuity. They got that seal signed and delivered. They don't have to go and fight in the streets for increasing their salaries. No, the government gave them 13%, 13% with all the fringe benefits. Look at the nurses. They're telling me, well, look, they're enjoying it. They're getting more for uniform allowance and more for this and more for that. Right? The minimum wage that was adjusted, and every 3 years it will be adjusted. So workers are enjoying that. The bi-monthly salary payments, workers are enjoying that. The nurses, $500 more on their salary, $6,000 annually. The doctors, $1,000 more on their salary, $12,000 annually. That's more money. You just look at it. Just check it out. Workers are in a better place. The regularization of workers, they're being made permanent and so on. Imani trainees, they are being treated better. And we can go on and on and on. So many things the government did for workers, the working people of this country. And the workers know. And that is why the turnout at May Day, it's getting, less and less and less. Fewer and fewer and fewer people are going to these things because there's nothing to fight about. But what the union leaders should do is to have their members celebrate. Use May Day to celebrate the achievements. We are not saying that the NDC is perfect. We're not saying that. There will be things that you want resolved and fixed. But the union leaders need to be smarter, celebrate the achievements, the amount of things that the government did over the recent period for the workers. Because it's good to be thankful and grateful, You don't have to go and fight in the streets and march in the streets and so on. You don't need to do that anymore. The doc salaries that was paid and everything. The TAMCC workers, they got their money and everything. They don't need to go and protest and fight, and that's under NNP time. That was needed under the NNP time. But workers are happier. Workers they're enjoying it all under the NDC administration. So the union leaders should be celebrating that. Celebrate your achievements, what you were able to achieve. It's not always this antagonistic, this militant way of doing things and this fighting and angry voice. And, you listen to Daisy Hazard and you could get the hatred coming out and the angriness and the bitterness and the, you don't need that right now. You could save that energy for down the road. You don't need that. You have a government that you can deal with, that you can work with. You have a friend. It's not a foe. It's not an enemy. You have a friend in the government. Look at the NDC. Under the NNP, you don't see ministers of government and so on going around and mixing and mingling and sitting with the unions, on Labor Day. And no, you never used to see that. The NDC has a track record in opposition, in government, of being with the unions, even on Labor Day. Even on Labor Day, when the union leaders and so on trying to make their members feel somewhat, and they're able to go and face these workers and be with them. That's the difference, That's the difference. During NNP time, you used to see that? No. We were not seeing that. That was not in existence. It's just clear cut. We were not seeing that. So you have a government that you can deal with. You have a government that you can trust, who has done far more for the working people of this country than any other government. So there's no need for this kind of militancy and all this. And mind you, some of these union leaders, people know where they stand politically. People know the kind of association that they keep. So people know their agenda. But they're not able to succeed. The agenda will never be fulfilled. Never. Because there is a serious disconnect between the leadership and the membership of the union. In fact, they cannot even call a strike. Because why? The workers are not going to support them. They just can't. It will be poor. You understand the point? And I am saying there is no need for that kind of rhetoric coming from some of the unions, the Public Workers Union. Daisy Hazard, you need to stop that. Stop that. Andre Lewis, stop that. These things are not necessary. The workers are enjoying it, enjoying the best time of their working life now. Look, you had thousands of workers working for years, retiring, and going home with nothing, no pension, no nothing. They had nothing to fall back on. Zero. Nothing. And the NDC decided to put in place a pension for the workers. Under the NNP, these workers had no hope. They had nothing to go home to upon retirement. You think it's easy to know that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you will reach 60. You will arrive at 60 years. You will retire from government. Just thinking about it, that you would retire and not have a pension on a monthly basis. So let us suppose after you retire at 60, you leave for another 20 years. You live up to 80 years, right? So for that next 20 years, you have no pension from your employer, zero. And then remember, 60, and then you have to wait for 5 years to get the money from NIS, because NIS is going up to what? 65. All right? So just think about it. You are accustomed with a salary of, let's say, $1,800 or $2,000. So you're accustomed with that salary every month. All right? When you put it the bi-monthly, you put it together. And suddenly, you retire. Or you retire, not suddenly, because it takes some time to retire. So you retire at 60. And then that month after, you're back to zero. So you're collecting zero. You're not collecting anything. You have your bills to pay, same water bill, same light bill, same food bill. You have to buy things to eat and survive, right? You may have a rent or a mortgage, it depends. And you may have children or grandchildren now, and they depend on you because they were depending on you all the years when you were getting that $2,000 every month. You have nothing now. And you have to now survive until you're dead, so to speak. All right? Until death comes. And for 20 years, 60, 70, 80, for 20 years after you retire from government, you have nothing coming. You have to go to the clinic more often, the doctor more often, the pharmacy more often, because you're going down in age. That is what existed under the NNP, Some of these union leaders believe that people are stupid. Daisy Hazard pension is certain unless she does something stupid and she loses it through the Public Service Commission and so on, because those things could happen. All right? There are workers who do stupid things and they lose everything. All right? But her pension is secured. Right? 66.66% of her highest emolument or whatever it is, she would get her pension from government. All right? And when you add her pension plus what she would get from NIS, it may well be more than her actual salary. The actual salary that she's receiving now. When you add, when she retires, and you add the pension from government and the NIS pension, there is a great probability that she would get more when you put two of them together than an actual salary. So these people, they're bread butter already. And that is why the workers must be grateful and thankful. And thousands of workers I'm talking about, thousands, what, 5,000, 6,000 unestablished workers. They were going home. They were facing a prospect of going home with nothing, with zero. The NDC came and the NDC fixed that mess. That was under NNP. NNP never did anything to help these workers. They love to see these workers retire with nothing. They go into poverty and they have to go back in the NNP office or the constituency office and beg them for this, beg them for that. That is what they enjoyed. They love that because they love to see these people poor and vulnerable. The NDC came and they fixed that mess by putting in place a pension for these workers and also making them permanent. I mean, it's a process. It wouldn't happen instantly because you have to appraise them, you have to assess them, and but at least they've started the process of regularizing these workers. So workers have a lot to be thankful for, to be grateful for. A lot. Because under the NNP, it was always a fight, it was always a struggle. It was always you having to go on the streets and march and protest and fight and for what was rightfully yours. The NDC is not perfect. The government is not perfect. I don't believe that they can do everything. They can get everything done one time. No, I don't believe so. But at least they're trying. At least they're trying their best. And you have to give them what is theirs. They're trying and they're working hard to make life better for the workers. And that is why you saw Labor Day so poorly attended. People are not interested in this kind of environment, this kind of bacchanalish, confrontational kind of thing. They're not, because they've seen for themselves that this government is working and helping these people and helping workers. So when Daisy Hazard come with her tone, angry, bitter, confrontational, bacchanalish kind of tone and rhetoric, people are not interested in that anymore. And don't even worry about Andrew Lewis. Utter rubbish. You see, what these people want is for workers to be out on the street. Because that is where their strength, that is where they get emboldened. That is where some of the union leaders feel as though they're mightier than. That is what they want. They want to be seen on the street and demonstrating in the hot sun, and that is what they're accustomed with. But this government is not interested in that. This government is about helping workers. Look at the police officers. For 10 years plus, they're fighting for pay and grade so they could have a better salary and so on. 10 years. NDC came and they just fixed the thing. They just give the people and them what it just, I mean, I am simply saying the time for militancy, the time for this hatred and confrontation and bacchanal and back and forth between government and union and so on, that is under NNP. That gone, that done. Ifini garçon, done, that done. This government is for you. This government is your friend. This government is not your enemy. You can sit with this government. You can reason out things together. That is what you need in a government. So embrace all the good things that you got in the last 3 years, because you didn't have it before 3 years ago. You were fighting, and the TAMCC workers, they were in the sun all up to when NDC won the election. Yeah. Come on. But NDC solved that problem. And you see, we can forget things easily. Yeah? When it comes easy, when it comes quick, we tend to not appreciate it that much. Because everything that you knew before, you had to fight for it. But this time around, you didn't have to. It just came because the NDC believe in justice. The NDC did what is right. Right? So the appreciation, when people struggle for something and fight to get something and then they appreciate it a little more. I hope that you're grateful and thankful and that you're expressing it. You have to express it. That's important. Right? So your children will know, your neighbors will know that this government did X, Y, and Z for you. We have to start being more thankful and grateful for the good things that this government is doing for the workers of the country. Right? We have to be thankful, we have to be grateful, and we have to express it. And I think the government needs to toot its horn some more. The government needs to toot its horn some more. Because I didn't know that the nurses and the orderlies and all these people got an increase based on, the fringe benefits that the government agreed upon in their uniform allowance and so on. I didn't realize that. It's the nurses who came to me and said, Kem Jones, look at the situation, boy, we're getting $1,200 now. Uniform allowance, we're getting more. And these stories must be told. And that is where GIS in particular comes in, because you need somebody in GIS who has a political knack, a feel for the politics, who understands what will be political capital in terms of a story, right? You have to know what will wake up the electorate. So you don't have to be the person who's going to cover all them little stories and so on. But somebody who could say, well, you see that? The issue of the increase for nurses, that's a big story. That's the politics, right? The pay and grade for police officers, that's a big story. The regularization of workers, that's a big story. Even the land tenure regularization, I saw they did an official handing over and so on in the stadium, which was great. That's the politics. That's the politics. Because if you're looking on and you see your brothers and sisters, your neighbor, your cousin, your friend getting title for the land, after all these years, I saw MTV did a nice piece on that, the land regularization.
Wednesday marked the presentation of land titles to 39 beneficiaries by Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Minister for Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, Honorable Lennox Andrews, and several other cabinet ministers. The Land Tenure Regularization Program, launched in May 2024, was designed to bring long-awaited regularization to people residing on Crown lands for decades. During the ceremony at the National Stadium, Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell highlighted the transformational impact of securing legal ownership of land in Grenada.
We don't have universal land ownership anywhere in the world. And so getting and being in a place where you can own your property, your land, your little piece of Grenada, as the Attorney General says, is something special, and it is something that should not be taken for granted. There are countries in the Caribbean that are being recolonized. There are Dutch islands where they are sending back more Dutch people from Holland, and they are selling the land to them than the persons who've been living in some of these Dutch islands for a long time. So this is not just about economic empowerment. It is also about making sure that we understand as a people that if you don't own your land and you don't empower your citizens to own your land, you are running the risk that your citizens are going to start going backward rather than forward.
Beneficiaries from communities including River Road, Tempe, Mount Rush and Lackalome received their documents during the ceremony. Minister for Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, Honorable Lennox Andrews, emphasized how receiving land titles marks a significant turning point in the lives of the new landowners.
But I'm also happy for you, the beneficiaries, the recipients, because you, in fact, now have a real opportunity to improve your lives by giving you these indentures, these titles, signed by the Governor General. Signed by the Governor General. So you can now take that piece of paper, and in some cases it's a big 3-page paper, with the signature of the Governor General on it, giving you the right and the claim of ownership of that piece of the Grenadian rock. And that is yours.
Attorney General and Minister for Legal Affairs, Senator Claudette Joseph, told recipients that the handover of land titles goes beyond ownership. It represents an opportunity to uplift their standard of living and create a better future for their children.
This program gives you ownership that you can then use to create wealth for yourselves and your families, to leverage in order to improve many of the homes that already sit on these lands, and to leave for the next generation something on which they can build a better life on.
Yes, thank you very much, the Honorable Claudette Joseph. There, you're doing a fantastic job. Big up your whole self. All right, and folks, don't get this thing mixed up. These people who received their title, they paid for their land. But the government, the previous administration and so on, they never gave these people title to their land. Because remember how they are regularizing the status of people who earn Crown lands. So some people might be there saying, well, look who getting, I saw a comment a while ago, look who getting this first and look who getting this first. Don't get yourself confused. These people paid for their land. So what the government is doing, they're focusing firstly on this group, those who are on government land and finish paying for it, but never got a title to it. The government never saw the need to make sure that these people get a title, a deed. So this is my land. This belongs to me. All right? So that is what is being done now, that group, that first group. And then they would focus on those who got a cabinet conclusion, like a letter from cabinet, and maybe they surveyed that piece of land, so they give that person that lot of land, and they have to pay for it, but they did not complete the process of paying, or maybe they started and they just didn't bother to continue. that kind of thing, right? So then they would focus on these people after to make sure that they have a pathway of, reaching to that place where you complete the payment for the land. All right? And then they would look at the squatters, the people who are on government land, they have no paper, they have nothing. They just go there and they build. Then they're going to look at these people and try to get them a pathway so that they can, pay and own the piece of property. But this is very important. Very, very important to get ownership of. So these people now can take this thing to the credit union or take it to the bank and say, this is my land. I applied for a loan and this is the cost of the loan. This is the cost of the land. And I'm putting it as collateral to get that loan or to help somebody, a family member, or they could pass it down to their child or children or so. This is important. What the government is doing is creating generational wealth for a lot of ordinary people who, yes, they've been paying, but they ain't get no paper. The NNP administration never give them a paper in their hand, or any previous administration give them a paper which says the land belongs to you. This is what the government is doing, creating generational wealth and helping ordinary people. Look at the faces of ordinary people. Mr. James a while ago sent me a photo there where, they handing the title and so on to people who just couldn't come because they were visually impaired or, had some kind of challenge, which is great. This is important, but you must know that the people that they're attending to first are the people who paid for the land, but they did not receive a title from the government for all the years. And then they would focus on the people who did not complete the payment of the land, but they start. Or they have some documentation saying that the land, this lot is theirs, and they don't have to pay for it. Remember, they give them a figure to pay. So $20,000, $15,000, whatever the amount. But I am saying this is very, very good. This is a government that cares about people and ordinary people too. This is not the bougies and them big shot and who have and who haven't. That's ordinary people. That they're setting them straight for life. That is what you want to see. So the government cares and people know that. As you move about, you realize that things are different now. People know that this government building bathroom and toilet for people who have pit latrines. That's a government that cares about you. Building a modern bathroom and toilet facility for you. People know that the playing field used to be dark. Now it's lit. It's fenced. They resurface some of them, so not plenty stone. When you fall, or you kick, you fall, you damage, And you have washroom facilities and so on there. People know that. Young people know that. The community centers are back up and running and functioning, renovated, repaired. You can have meetings, you can have events and so on there now for the community. People know that. The police stations and so on, you see that repairs are being done to the police stations, the medical stations, the clinics and so on. People know that. You don't have to, go and preach that. People know it because they're in the community and they're seeing it. The drains, the roads that they're fixing for the people, the basketball courts, the netball courts, the renovation of the houses, material assistance, house repairs, build back better houses and so on. We can go on and on and on. We can go on and on and on. People know that. But you have one or two people in the area or in Grenada, Carrick or PG Martinic, who somewhat jealous at the performance of the NDC, the most honorable Deacon Mitchell and his team. They're jealous because they never thought that those things could have been done. And look at who doing it. Look at who doing it. People who were not in politics all these years and so on. Because they care about people. Look at the amount of young people getting scholarships. Thousands and thousands of them. $100 and something million in scholarships. Come on, they come from families, they come from homes. And that is why the NNP is not getting that kind of traction. They're not getting that kind of movement in their direction. They're not getting it. They're not. And they know that. Don't believe they don't know that. They know. The NNP knows that people are not bothered with them too much. People are saying, well, it's like one party in Grenada right now, Yeah. Because, you see, once a government is attending to the needs of the people, they can't go wrong. In fact, on Friday, there's a gentleman who always wearing his NNP jersey. I mean, he would come by the market area and, you would make him out easily. Green NNP jersey. And he told me Friday, he said, boy, I've been observing the government, He said, boy, you're getting an next tomboy. So you're doing good. So you don't realize I don't win the green jersey as before and that kind of thing. He too start realizing that this government cares about the people of the country and about Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It's gradually, Yeah, gradually. Those guys, they are coming to their senses and realizing that. Gradually, and look, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, they come to Grenada from time to time. They too realizing that in a big way. When they come, they want to register. We need to fix this registration mess because every time some server down, every time some internet issue, every time it's some kind of stupid issue with this whole registration process. We know it's a kind of old-time system, yes, okay, but there's a need for more efficiency with the parliamentary elections office or electoral office. There's a need for that, right? The NNP seem to be pushing because they want the NDC administration to just scrap what exists now and do a re-registration process from scratch. That's what they're pushing for. They want that because they believe the thousands and thousands of people who came here, all Grenadian brothers and sisters, and registered and so on, well, they won't come back. They won't come back and re-register and do all this kind of stuff. That's what they believe. So they think that we're stupid. We don't want this thing to start from fresh. No, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We just need to fix the system, right? Because a lot of people want to get registered. And look, no one could stop you from registering as a Grenadian. There is no preferential treatment in law for a Grenadian who lives here in Grenada or a Grenadian who goes to the United States or Canada or the UK or Trinidad or so and comes back to Grenada every now and then, right? Or visits her home country or a village and that kind of, there's no preferential treatment. There's nothing different. You're a Grenadian. Born and bred, you're a Grenadian. No one could take that from you. And no one could stop you from registering and getting a voter identification card. No one could do that. Right? And you're a Grenadian first and foremost. You're a Commonwealth citizen after. But you're a Grenadian first and foremost. And you have a right to get registered. And people are registering in record numbers. And it's our people. The majority of people registering now is our people. Because people understand, they observe, they see that this government cares about the Grenadian people. This government wants good for Grenadians. And sometimes you're not directly benefiting, but just seeing your neighbor or your friend or your family benefiting or getting assistance, it must make you feel good. Must. It will make you feel good. I went to the supermarket earlier and I met, two friends. And he said to me, he said, I don't want anything for myself, He said, you don't want anything for yourself? He said, glad to see his people, his neighbors, his friends, living standard and condition improving. That is what he loves. Yeah, and he made it very clear. He said, I love to see that. He said, boy, a campaign. He said, he campaign. He campaign. But he wants good for his people. He don't want anything direct and personal. And no. And that's the love. That is the love that exists in this country. And look, I could know when the government is doing well and being favored. Because I could tell you this. I am the face of this government when it comes to disseminating information about what they're doing. Very few people look at GIS and that kind of stuff. I constantly saturate the minds of our people with all the good things that the government is doing. So when I go out there, I get the feel. So a person, look, sometimes I walk in certain villages, everybody calling Kem Jones, Kem Jones, Kem Jones, hey, Kem. You get a sense. Because people are listening, people are happy with the performance of the government. I remember when NDC was 2018, well, 2012, 14, 15, coming up there. You get a sense that the NDC was nowhere. Because when I go wrong, I would get the feedback from people. Because I was out here talking about certain things, right? So I kind of get a sense of what's going down. Coming to the 2020, 2021, I getting a sense of change was coming. So you could know. You could know as a, in other words, Sheldon Scott, for example, he could walk and people even recognizing him. He's a nobody in the scheme of things. The Andre Donald and them, and Carl Caton and Francis Pay, and all these guys and them, the royalty, James Boy and all, they're a nobody in the scheme of things in the country. They walk the streets and people don't even know them. They don't recognize them. They don't, not me. I go everywhere I go. Everywhere, everybody knows Kem Jones. Right? But because the government is performing well, the government is doing good things for our people. Of course, it makes me more comfortable. It makes me more happy. It makes me, I'm out there smiling because it makes my work easier. And that is what you need. So these guys, yes, they're on programs and so on and talking, but nobody listening to them. No, look at the Jenny girl. She yap, Jenny. What Jenny, Simon? Or Simon or Ripe? I don't know. Whatever. People, look. Grenadians understand that this government cares about them. The government can't fix everything one time. You're not going to get everything fixed now. But Grenadians are observing that the government is trying their best to help, to do things, to fix things. We're going to get there, It will take some time, step by step by step. And I love that. I'm happy to see what's taking place. I'm proud of the NDC. I am proud of the most honorable Deacon Mitchell and his team. Trust me, because remember, this same team, they say, well, they're inexperienced. This same team, and they're young, but they work in miracles. If you ask me, they're doing a lot for our people, and they're doing so genuinely, not fake. They're genuine. You see our beloved Prime Minister, holding the hands of an elderly person and sitting down. And let me tell you this. I went in a particular community, right? And, this lady, there's quite a number of people there. So she cooked. There was stew chicken, and she had a piece of pie in the bowl, and some macaroni and whatever. And she said, okay, Jones, well, take a piece now. Not chicken, pork, not chicken, stew pork. And people are watching me, but they don't know me. I'm the person, I'm down to earth, I'm simple. I'm ordinary, so I take a piece and I eat. And my mind ran back, because that's Kem Jones, that's me. I'm with you. I am on the ground and I'm with you, and I'm a simple guy. I don't play, I don't show off, I don't bullshit, I'm simple. That's me. I'll give you the last thing that I have. That's Kem Jones. That's the love. So, but my mind went back to a situation where a particular politician, not going to call his name, he went to a particular area, he met a farmer. You know, farmers, they dealing with the mud and so on. So the farmer stretched out his hand to shake, to get a handshake. So he shook the hands of the farmer, and then he took the water bottle with the spring water that he had, and then he washed his hands. Not even 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but he went and he washed his hands. Nothing wrong with you washing your hand. Nothing wrong with that. But from that day, that farmer never forget that situation, that occasion. And that farmer and his family vowed never to support that particular individual. But eventually, that individual lost their seat. Never again. Right? So sometimes you have to be grounded and you have to be genuine. And that's what I'm seeing with the NDC. The NDC is genuine. Some people, they do things halfway, half-patch. The NDC is genuine about how they do things and how they mix and mingle. Genuine. You see our beloved Prime Minister and you see how he's moving. It's genuine. It's from the heart. You don't fake. That ain't him wrong. You don't making this thing up. You don't creating this thing. It's different. Totally different. You see Emlyn Payne and you see she's fighting to blend in and to mix, and it's but I'm saying, that's life. Life in itself. You observe certain things and somebody they just watch you and they say, I see you that man, boy. That man is a nice man, boy. That man is a cool man, a genuine man. And it's what it is. Right? So the NDC cares about the working people of the country. The NDC cares about the youth. The NDC cares about the women of the country. The NDC cares about the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And I'm proud of the NDC and what they continue to do for our people. I am proud of the NDC. The NDC will be marking 3 years in June, and there's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to be thankful and grateful for. The NDC has done a tremendous job, a good job to date. 3 years, there's a lot to show, and we need to toot our own horns. We need to put the track record out there. Let's put it on the table and say, these are the things that we were able to do in the last 3 years. We need to do that. And it doesn't take a lot. If you ask me, say, Kem Jones, tell me 50 things that the NDC did in the last 3 years. Tell me 100. I could sit and tell you 100 good things that the NDC did in the last 3 years. I mean, besides the piece of road or the piece of drain that they did here, there, and everywhere, right? Or the Build Back Better this, I could tell you that. Kendon Jones could tell you that. And we want our people to be able to do the same. Shouldn't just be Kem Jones, but we want all people to do the same, be able to do the same thing. Folks, I want to tell you that we're going to Carriacou on June the 21st. June the 21st, and the tickets are going faster. Tickets are going fast. We're going to Carriacou with 2 ospreys. 2 ospreys, all right, to Carriacou. We will have a wonderful time. We spend the entire day into night in Carriacou, and then we come back down to Grenada. I have tickets. Remember, I have tickets. It's $100, 100 EC. Tickets are going fast. In fact, a good friend called me a while ago. He said, Kem Jones, I have the money for the 2 tickets. We'll pass and pick it up. My good friend in Laura, pass and pick it up, and give her the 2 tickets. I have tickets. You have tickets, but it's going fast, which is good. People are purchasing their tickets because they want to be a part of this celebration. They want to be a part of this niceness. All right. So remember that I have tickets. It's 100 EC, and you could organize your group. You might be you have a group of people. Your prayer group, your social club, your youth group, your women's group. You can organize, and let's go up to Carriacou. All right, let's go up to Carriacou and let's be a part of this. It's you. I know you get you all tickets. Yeah, it's you. I know you get your tickets already. You got yours on when Friday or Wednesday. Yeah, it's you got our tickets. I think Saturday. or Friday, one of them days, right? The number of people got their tickets too on Friday. So we have our tickets. Organize yourself, you and your friends and so on. Let's go up to Carriacou. We go up in the morning and we come down about 10 o'clock in the night, right? You have a nice time. 10, 11, you have a nice time. On Paradise Beach, you get a chance to go on the beach, you eat, you have food there on sale, drinks on sale, the vibes, music. The vibes go nice. The vibes go nice, nice, nice in Carriacou, June the 21st. All right, me kayak pass and them day. I had a wonderful time with them on Saturday. Once I see people from Carriacou and PT Martinique, it's just love and genuine love, genuine niceness. Basie and Rena and Rena Mills and all the old works. They were all down here. Plenty of them, leftists, all of them. I think they came to perform at a wedding. Somebody from Carriacou getting married and thing. Real vibes. And the mistake they make is to come by Ricky there and link up with me. We had a nice time. We had a really nice time. Yeah. We had a damn good time. Them kayaks watch. All you know to enjoy yourself. And they're nice. They're genuine. They're good. I like all you. We had, I drink. I think two shots of Jack and the Carriacou barrel Jack. I take two drinks with them. These my people. I love them. They're nice, right? And we, give them some drinks and so on. Little I have. We had a nice time. It's just pure love and pure niceness. Fake thing, no half thing, no. I like them. The people of Carriacou and PT Martinique, they are genuine. They are sincere. They have, the first occasion many years ago, when I went up to Carriacou, and just love, and nothing changed up to this day. Up to this day, nothing changed. How they deal with you, how they treat you, how they just pure niceness, no fake thing. I love that. You hear me? I love that because I want good for my children too. I mean, 2 girls. I want good for them. I want when I get old, when people see them, they say, "Nah, but I Kevin Jones' children here," and Kevin Jones was a nice guy. He was a okay guy, and they go help them. They go be around them. They go make sure that they're okay. That's what I want. All right. That's what I want. So we're going to Carriacou. Tickets, it's 100 EC. So buy your tickets up. And then we're going to New York. All right, well, we go to New York before. We go to New York first. So New York is the last day of May this month, the 31st of May, in the backyard. All right? In the backyard. So we go into the backyard, 618 East 87th Street. As I think it's closer to Canarsie side, down that side. But that's where the kayaks, Grenadians, everybody knows the backyard. So we go in there, DJ Screw and DJ Chris. All right, so they would be holding down the vibes and making sure that things, it's a group of nice people who organize this event for me. Real Mitch was all right, big up your whole self. And your wife is a darling. All right, she's a darling. The real Mitch, I call him the real Mitch, and his wife, the name and Udina. But anyways, who you are. She's just nice boy, a nice woman. Right? Hold on, let me get your name. Let me hold. I want to get your name. She's a nice lady. I don't forget names easily though. Nice people. She's a vibes boy, right? What's her name again, boy? The real Mitch. Let me get your wife name. I want to get your wife name, right? She's a nice lady. Boy, when I go up there the last time, and old talk and vibes, yeah. That phone giving a little problem. All right, it's a real nice lady. Have the phone giving a little problem. But I want your name. I want to call your name. She's my girl, my real girl. Right? So the real Mitch, right? He's a nice guy, he's a general. Right? He's a general, he's a nice gentleman. Is it Udine? I think it's Udine. Right? Right? Right. Omin, that's her name. Yes, Omin. That's her You think she easy? Omin is our vibes, you know. Yes, Omin, I was saying you didn't know. Omin, you're a nice woman. I like you. You're nice. You know, you are genuine, nice lady. She warm. She could give you like a old talk. She could, she had the vibes. I like her. Yeah. So we Julie, thanks, Julie better, good, nice lady, right? Nice people, loving nice people. I like them. I love them. They're genuine. They're not no fake. They deal with you. Thick and thin they day. I like that. I love that. All right. So Omen, yeah, big up yourself today. Yeah. So we're going to New York. New York on the 30 on the yeah hello. Omen, yes, thanks. Yes, I say yeah, I got it. Thanks. Great. Yes. So we're going to Kareku, not Kayak, well, the backyard. That's New York, 618 East 87th Street, right? The backyard, that's on the 31st of this month. So the Honorable Ron Redhead will be there. He will be in attendance. And the Honorable Ian Thomas will be there in attendance. These are my two guests. They will be there with me in New York. So it's pure love, right? So it is my intention to be in New York way before. All right. So I'll be in New York before the event. Yeah, I'll be in New York, might be a whole week before the event. So if you organize a little thing, because you understand why we're doing all of this. If you organize a little thing, holler at me, call me. I'll come, I'll be there, I'll visit you, I'll eat a drink, I'll laugh with you. Because I'm coming to New York, one, to celebrate 3 years of NDC. That is why the Honorable Ron Redhead, and to celebrate the achievements of the NDC. Because a lot to celebrate about, right? And then hello? Hello?
Hi, Cam.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, darling. How's everything?
Yeah, good.
Okay, I have a question to ask. I'm listening to you here.
Right, and I'm actually live here.
Right?
Yes.
I came down when I was on home. So I
Right.
registered.
Yes.
And, they were giving me the runaround, telling me all
Right.
So I went to,
Uh-huh.
I think it's in Marion.
Right, oh, it's to get registered.
Yeah, so I registered there.
Right.
Time to get the ID. I made about
Right.
10 trips, and they're saying the system is down. So I had to leave.
Okay.
But they have all the information. Can I send someone to pick up the ID? Because
No,
she's telling me
no. You have to get the ID when you come back, and it's always there, so you don't have no problem. It is I think it's 14 days or whatever after. But nothing wrong with that. Once you registered, my dear.
Give me a hard time because I went to send it and send it tell me I'm not in the country.
Right.
Enough to get an ID, so I had to change my address and go to Marion.
Right. Yes. Right. So you don't worry. Once you register, you're okay. All right. And but it's a system that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, well, the system was done.
Yeah, it has to be fixed and rectified because there are some registration officers who are given that thing during the NNP time. So the majority of them, they are NNP supporters. So they realize that the people who are getting registered are Grenadians, and they love what the government is doing. So they're registering to vote and participate. So they're trying to give people a hard time, thinking that people are going to just give up. But we have to encourage our right. But we need to encourage our people to don't give up, don't give in, go back over and over and over, because you have a right to, as a citizen, to get registered. All right.
When is election again? 2021.
Well, it could be anytime. So don't worry. When the bell ring, you will know.
No, my daughter is 16, but she's Canadian, but a Grenadian citizen. So
All
I
right.
want her to vote.
Okay. Now she'll have time. I don't worry. Maybe even if she have time, she'll vote the next time. But don't worry. All right.
Okay,
Nice. Everything is good. Everything is good. All right. Nice. Yes. Bye. Yes. Yes. So it's pure love. It's just pure love and pure niceness. Yes. Just saying again that so we're going to be in New York. We're going to be in New York so I'm going to be there before the 31st in New York, and I'll be there a little after the 31st, a couple of days after, because I don't stay very long there. But we're going to be in New York. So if you organize a little event and so on, feel free to invite us. The Honorable Ron Redhead, the Honorable Ian Thomas, and Kem Jones, no title for Kem Jones, right? So, so I'll be celebrating that 3 years of achievement and all the work that we did, that the government did here in Grenada. And 11 years, I will be celebrating 11 years in radio, talk radio. 11 years, my time flying. Time doesn't really fly. 11 years in talk radio. And then, remember, we were embarking upon the studio project, right? Studio project, getting a little update on that, giving you an update on that is important, because we purchased the land, we excavated, we did some work already, we purchased materials, because that's how I do it. I learned from my mother, piece. So we have quite a bit of the material. So we're right there, just the labor and other things like that. So we need the resources. Everything, all proceeds from this event in New York will be going towards the studio project. All donations, everything towards the studio project. All right. So even if you can't make it to the event itself, please donate something towards it. All right. Donate something towards that project, the studio project. I gave you the Zelle number. I gave it a Zelle number. Maybe I can give you again, so you can, if you want to make a donation towards this particular event, the particular project, the studio project, registration/studio project. You have a good opportunity to do so. Let me just give you the number again, so you can, because it's a different Zelle. All right, you can Zelle to this number and make that pledge or that donation. Give that donation towards the project. It will really be nice. Zelle to support, all right, to support new radio station, right? Radio station and studio, all right? Studio project, all right? And let me just project, and let me just put a number. So the number is 1-347-539-0274. All right. So that's the number you can Zelle. 539-0274. Right. So that's the number you can Zelle to support the studio project and the new radio station. So even if you're not able to come to the event, you can still donate towards the project. All right. So all proceeds from the event is for that. So if you're in the United States in particular, anywhere in the United States, you can Zelle to that number. Once you Zelle to that number, I will receive it, and it will go towards the studio project. All right. So that's the number you Zelle for that purpose. And if you Zelle something, you could just say, hey, Kem, but I just donated $50 or $100 or $10 or whatever the amount towards your studio project, and I wish you all the best. You could send that to me. My number, my cell number, my WhatsApp number, 1473-415-4817. All right, 1473-415-4817. You could send me a message or so there. All right, feel free. So that's a number there. You can Zelle to support this. All right. So we will be in New York at the end of May, May the 31st, and I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to meeting you while in New York. All right. So I'll be there before the event. Be in New York before the event and a little after the event. So, folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful Sunday. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, God's willing, starting from 8 in the a.m. to continue that journey. So remember, we're going to Carriacou for a day on June the 21st. Don't forget that. We have tickets. It's 100 EC. And it's going fast. So if you have groups, you have friends, holla, let me know. You can get the tickets and so on. Right? If you're in St. George's, you can pass by Ricky's Bar in town where I'm normally at, and you can pick up a ticket there. You can purchase a ticket there. All right? So, folks, take good care.